You ever been to one of Diddy parties?
Yeah, I've been in attendance. I've been in attendance. Hey, what the fuck you smirking for?
You seen that?
I've been in attendance.
We just asked you regular
That's all I said.
questions.
That's all I said. I said I've been in attendance. I have been in attendance.
We never been. We just asking. We just asking.
Yeah. As soon as you asked, he said,
You had fun? I ain't seen that.
yeah, you did.
I ain't seen that.
Yeah, I had fun. Yeah, I mean, it was a party. I wouldn't have one of them parties.
What party?
I have been in attendance at a puff party. You know what I'm saying? I've been in attendance. Yeah, I went. Yeah, but I ain't. Yeah, I don't know which party. The party I went to, it was girls turn up. You know what I'm saying? The regular. You know what I mean? Other celebrities and shit. Yeah,
that's what you do. Lying when you say, I ain't been to one of them parties. Wait, what party? That's crazy. You know, I thought it was only one type of party. We should be at that party.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't watch some of y'all podcasts. I see y'all talking about.
Tonight, exclusive details in a harrowing story from a young woman who says she was brutally gang raped by Sean Diddy Combs and his entourage. She says it happened one terrifying night back in 2018. Her recall is crystal clear and specific. And if true, it represents one of the more disturbing assaults that Sean Combs, Diddy, is alleged to have committed. What's different about this accuser, Ashley Parham, is just that, her name. It's front and center. She chose not to remain anonymous in her lawsuit like so many others have. What's also different is that she wasn't at a party. She wasn't even in the entertainment world. In fact, she says she's never even met Sean Combs in person before this had happened. Her 62-page complaint is filled with details and is one of at least 25 lawsuits that Diddy is now facing, in addition to facing federal criminal charges that could put him away for life. I read a lot of those details right here on the air the night that lawsuit was filed. But tonight, Ashley Parham is here to fill in some blanks. As a recap, she says the gang rape happened at the home of a mutual acquaintance in the Bay Area back in 2018. She says that Sean Combs singled her out because she publicly disrespected him in a FaceTime call and accused him of orchestrating the murder of Tupac Shakur. She says that Combs and 3 other men raped her, the other men acting on Diddy's orders. She also claims that members of Combs' entourage stood by, even helped out in the assault. Afterward, she says everybody simply hung around drinking and smoking as though nothing had happened. And even though she was drugged, she says it soon wore off and that scuffles eventually broke out, during which shots were actually fired. She even claims that she slashed at Diddy with a knife. A neighbor heard the ruckus and called the police, but Parham says the officers who showed up from the Contra Costa Sheriff's Department didn't offer to help her. She says she didn't believe they ever even investigated. The department, however, says this, and I quote, "A report was taken on March 23rd, 2018. We take these cases and accusations seriously, and detectives thoroughly investigated the accusations. It was later determined the claims were unfounded."
So that clip is re-emerging from Druski, $1 million worth of game episode over there with Gilly and Wallow. The body language, him laughing, the way he's referencing the party, like, yeah, I was in attendance, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, you know, and it almost felt like he was saying, not one of those parties, like a pause party, if you feel what I'm saying, lighting the loafers, sugar in the gas tank, pause type party. I think that's what Druski was getting at, right? Like, where the whole laughing and joking was, that he wasn't at one of them type parties. I don't know. Let me know what y'all thought about the little clip there as in this lawsuit. Now, that's what's going on, man. This lawsuit has come up before, and it reads like a script to a movie. And I don't say that to diss this woman or call her a liar, but it does feel a bit far-fetched. You know what I mean? Like, it's the whole, and we're going to have a part 2. We're going to get into her discussing it and comment Make sure to like the video, subscribe so we can get into the part 2. Like, this has just been crazy with this whole Diddy situation. I don't think never, I mean, obviously these allegations, the case he's facing, I want to know everyone's thoughts about if you think he'll be convicted, if you think he's guilty. There's all kinds of conspiracies and stuff behind this. You need like a diagram. Y'all have seen Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the Pepe Sylvia, where he's tying it all together to show all the different allegations and involved in lawsuits and criminal complaints in the way other people are brought into the mix, like how Jay-Z got implicated, which I don't believe that at all. I think that the father talking about, I don't recall, and some other inconsistencies told me that ish was a lie, the way Hove handled it and everything. But seriously, the way this is all played out, you really need a diagram to keep track of all this. It branches out and there's so many different people named and Jane Does and this and that. And that's one of the things that this accuser is saying. I didn't go anonymous, Ashley Partham. You know, there is a Jane and a John Doe involved in the case. And Diddy's lawyer is saying the John Doe was involved in accusing Michael Jackson in a lawsuit before. Like, the lawyer goes in with a lengthy statement that we'll get into, basically calling this all fake and all that. Like I said, this has been brought up in the news before. This is the complaint where the woman said that she was outside of a bar and someone was on FaceTime with Diddy, and Diddy tried to holler at her via the FaceTime, and she was like, man, I'm not impressed by you, fuck you, you killed Pac and all that. And she ended up at this party and Diddy violated her because she called him out and embarrassed him, and they forced her to take a pill. She tried to slash Diddy with a knife. He tried to slash her. Like, it really is quite the story. And what I think's going on, I think the lawsuit was actually amended, because you see now it's involving Druski, comedian, and OBJ. And like I said, that clip's coming back up because he's now saying he was never at a Diddy party, like, period. And he's saying back in 2018, when these allegations went down, he wasn't even a public figure. He was nobody. He was broke. As him and OBJ addressed this via social media. Again, this originally was filed in October of last year. But what's this say? This is from Diddy's attorney, though, like I said, who vehemently denies all this. This new complaint brought by an attorney who has already been sued for defaming Mr. Combs demonstrates the depraved lengths plaintiffs will travel to garner headlines in pursuit of payday. Mr. Combs was nowhere near Orinda, California on the day Ms. Parham claims she was assaulted there, and the Contra Costa Sheriff's Department has already confirmed Ms. Parham's claims were determined to be unfounded following a thorough investigation. And you see the statement from the sheriffs saying that they came and found it to be unfounded. So she did call the police. The police said, I don't know, these are unfounded claims. But it also says, in an attempt to salvage her complaints following the investigation, debunking them, Ms. Parham has now invented an even wilder narrative alleging a vast and facially implausible conspiracy between law enforcement, local civilians, and media industry players. Her far-fetched tale contains it all: fake cops, cash bribes, and an alleged victim of the late Michael Jackson who was purportedly kidnapped across state lines and forced to, quote, sign paperwork at gunpoint while shepherded through a web of safe houses. So again, like I said, this thing reads like a crazy movie. No sane person reading this complaint would credit this story. Mr. Combs looks forward to having his day in court, where these lies and the perverse motives of those who told them will be revealed. And Druski, like I said, he tweeted here, and OBJ did as well, where he said, "This allegation is a fabricated lie. I wasn't a public figure in 2018. I was broke living with my mom without any connections to the entertainment industry at the time of this allegation. So that inclusion of my name is truly outlandish. My heart breaks for actual victims of abuse, but I'm fully confident that the evidence will expose this falsehood and the individuals who are maliciously trying to game the legal system to peddle false narratives." I'm not the biggest druski fan. He's been around for a minute, but is that indeed facts? He wasn't known in 2018, still living with my dukes, broke as hell. But that clip is what's circulating with the story. That's why you always gotta like coffee talk it up on the different things that hits the news and put it all in context, you know, because some people, you see him laughing at what he's saying and then the headlines and you're like, oh damn, this is spooky. But the more you get into it, you know what I mean? I don't know. Odell Beckham says, "Boy, I'll tell you what, this world makes absolutely no sense. I am covered by God. He will prevail. I know who I am. I know who you are. Keep up your head. I think he meant to say that name will be cleared." I think he said that bitch stupid. And yeah, man, it's pretty fucking nuts at the end of the day. And you see some of the documents here from the actual lawsuit. Sean Combs, aka Diddy Love, you know, the official filings here. Defendant Diddy then instructed another defendant, Doe, to also grape plaintiff. Defendant Doe had been determined to be defendant Druski. So like I said, I think this was filed in October and now it's been amended, kind of similar to the way the Jay-Z allegations were. If you recall, originally he was just like celebrity A or B. And at that time they had reached out. This is a total different lawsuit that I'm speaking of, but his name wasn't in it. They reached out to him, tried to meet for confidential mediation, which Jay-Z was like, "Fuck out of here," didn't respond. Then they refiled it with Jay-Z's name, amended the lawsuit, and then Jay-Z tried, you know, sued them for extortion or whatever the case may be, countersued. I don't know that the same thing happened in here, that they amended it and, you know, tried to get money out of Druski and OBJ first. I'm not sure. But that was so crazy in the Jay-Z one that punk ass lawyer had the nerve to say, "My client doesn't want any money. She wanted a mediation, a confidential mediation." Like, for what? To just talk to him? No, to try to come to negotiations on money. It's plain and simple what it is. And yeah, man, it goes on to say some other wild stuff. Instead of immediately graping defendant or plaintiff, defendant Druski discussed plaintiff with more, or doused plaintiff with more oil / lubricant, and then jumped on top of plaintiff's NAKED and oiled BODY, treating it like a slip and slide and knocking the wind out of the plaintiff to his enormous size. Pause. Defendant Druski then caught himself from sliding all over plaintiff's oiled body and off the bed, where he began graping plaintiff VAGINALLY. And I'm not going to read all this, but you see what it says, that Diddy sat in the chair, was watching and being a weirdo, and another party's phone fell on the bed near plaintiff. Plaintiff then attempted to grab the phone, but it slipped out of her hands and onto the floor, and due to the oil that had been doused all over her person by defendants Diddy and Druski. Throughout this violent gang grape, defendant Diddy made constant belittling remarks to plaintiff, including that he owned her now. And again, prior to all this, she said that someone was on a FaceTime with Diddy and she was like, "Fuck out of here, you don't impress me." And I don't know, man, it's just crazy, man. I can't even call it. But Odell gets mentioned in here as well. At some point during the ordeal, plaintiff remembers defendants referring to another defendant, Doe, as Cornelius, and remembered the name because it was so odd and unique. Plaintiff, apologies, y'all, it's hard to read some of this. Plaintiff has come to discover the defendant Doe Cornelius, who raped her, was defendant Odell. So there's OBJ. And, you know, it's pretty brutal stuff, man. But it's basically, you know, painting out this horrific picture of Odell and druski violating her in a collaboration with Diddy. And again, this was all sparked because she told someone that had Diddy on the FaceTime, like, "Fuck out of here. You killed Pac. You don't impress me." And again, here it is hitting the news now. Check this out too here. Defendant KK examined plaintiff to see if she needed assistance and was about to give plaintiff an IV fluid. Plaintiff cannot be certain if she did or did not receive such intravenous intervention. Defendant KK then opened a different bag, different than the one defendant Diddy removed the oil from, where plaintiff observed several med bottles, IV fluid bags, and unidentifiable powder-like drugs. Defendant KK then removed a pill from the medicine bottles and gave it to defendant Diddy. Defendant Diddy then inserted the pill into plaintiff's mouth and down her throat. Pause. Where plaintiff had no choice but to ingest the unknown pill. Defendant Diddy, Shane, KK, Odell, and druski, so there's 3 other people allegedly involved here, then exited the residence to the backyard where they smoked marijuana and cigarettes. Plaintiff remained in almost lifeless state in defendant Shane's bedroom until she finally regained her bodily functions. So again, it's a pretty wild story. You heard Diddy's legal team, druski, Odell, they're all saying, you know, this is BS. Diddy's legal team is saying this attorney involved is shady, and the other people involved in the suit with her were involved in trying to shake down Michael Jackson. Whether you believe Michael Jackson did that or not, a lot of people believe it was a shakedown. Let me know your thoughts. We're going to cover this more in a part 2, where we're going to go over an actual interview that she did and hear some of her claims. But Odell and druski are just saying this is BS. We don't want to belittle women who have been violated, but this woman is full of ish, is what they are saying. And whether you believe this or not, again, this does sound far-fetched. Whether you believe it to be true or not, if it's not, it doesn't mean other claims against Diddy aren't true, though. You know what I mean? That's another thing Diddy's legal team has constantly done throughout this whole situation, is just saying, hey, everyone's trying to get their payday. Everyone's trying to get money out of Diddy. And it's so crazy, too, the law with the statute of limitations in filing civil suits against someone who actually violated someone. Like, there was that whole change for a certain period of time where the statute changed, and, you know, right at the same time all this came out against Diddy, so many individuals stepped forward and sued him, and the feds raided him and eventually charged him. You know, it still hasn't went to trial, but that's gonna happen. I don't see Diddy taking a plea, just like he wasn't going against the feds back in 2000, right? He was going against the state of New York. But he went to trial with the whole Shine thing and beat the case. Here he is now, and that was something the feds were looking into back then, or back when they first indicted him. We had heard that they had tried to reach out to J-Lo to see if Diddy forced her to hold the burner and all that. Like, it's wild, man. But there you have it, druski, OBJ saying this is BS. Stay tuned for the part 2, where we go over it a little more in depth. Hit the comments with your thoughts about it all. Subscribe and stay tuned for updates, y'all. It's Coffee, and I'm up out of here. Peace.